Welcome in to the Rock Talk Studio, the podcast for serious rock and roll fans who want to discover all the new essential books, docs, stories, and products worth your time and money. Like today, where I'm going to explain why every Tuesday is now officially Grateful Dead Live Show Day. 422 have just been re-released. Then it's a look at an over-the-top book that leaves nothing more left to say about Rush's 2012 album. And then I'm going to turn you on to more concert news, but this time it includes over 10,000 recordings. This is a wild story. I'm your host, Big Rick. I do the watching, I do the reading, and I gladly do all the digging to bring you nothing but the good stuff. The Grateful Dead Vault has officially busted wide open, and you can actually get full access to it now. Not just a few releases, not just a greatest hits package. We're talking about a full streaming archive built around their live history. Nugs TV just launched a new app. It's called Play Dead, and it opens with over 400 complete shows, including unreleased performances that have never been available before. This is amazing. And this is just part of the story here because it isn't a static archive. New shows are going to be dropping, as I mentioned in the intro, every Tuesday. So what you're looking at here isn't just access. It's an ongoing rebuild of one of the deepest live categories in rock history. I mean, the Grateful Dead are known for their live show. Sure, they put out a couple of good records. And when I say couple, I mean, they weren't known for their records. They were known for their live show. So to be able to get access to the vault like this, I thought is really cool. And even the people behind it are calling it one of the largest tape transfer projects ever. According to Nugs founder Brad Serling, the kickoff is what he calls the largest tape transfer project in rock and roll history, with tapes being pulled from the vault and transferred at their highest resolution to date. The app brings together newly transferred, mastered, high-resolution recordings from the vault, including previously unreleased shows, CD-only releases that are now streaming for the first time, and live recordings organized by the actual date they were performed. So the big story here is simply not just that the Grateful Dead has another app. The big story here is that one of rock's deepest live archives is being rebuilt for the streaming era. Show by show, date by date, tape by tape. Tuesday's now the official Live Dead Day. You can get the app at Nugs TV. I looked into the pricing. The Play Dead standalone subscription is $9.99 a month. If you already have Nugs TV, you can get an add-on for $4.99 a month. If you're a Dead fan, to me, that's a steal. To be able to get access to all these shows, and not just access to these shows, they're just going to keep putting them out. And this thing's going to grow into an amazing, amazing collection. Really cool that the Dead Vault is open, and so many great shows are now going to be available through Nugs TV. Here comes a book I wanted to turn you on to, and it's about this album that almost ended the band Rush, but instead it made them one of the most influential bands in rock and roll history, and I'm talking about 2112. 2112 came out in 1976, and at that time, the band was coming off not the best reviews on their earlier records. There was a lot of label pressure going on. And honestly, Geddy Lee's voice wasn't exactly winning everybody over just yet. It was still taking a little getting used to, and it was still developing. Let's put it that way. And then they released this 20-minute sci-fi rock suite, which on paper should have completely failed. But it didn't, and it changed everything. And this new book does a really good job of looking at it. It's called Rush and 2112, 50 Years, written by Daniel Buxpan. And he's really good at these coffee table style books that Motor Books Quattro Publishing puts out. And the book gets into the full picture, early struggles of the band, the creative risks that they were taking, and the band's world at the time. They did a really good job with a bunch of rare photos, behind the scenes moments, really deep breakdowns of the music itself. And when you see it all laid out, you kind of realize 2112 wasn't just a great album, but a real big turning point that defined everything that came after for Rush. If you're a Rush fan, you're definitely going to like this. The book has a coffee table style feel. It's got a hardcover to it. It comes in a slipcase, and it dives deeply into 2112. The book features rare live and behind the scene photos, interviews, commentary, and detailed analysis of the album. including the 20-minute title suite. It also puts them up against other bands I like this at the time, so it looks at Rush within the larger rock landscape in the 70s and 80s, and it just shows how their musicianship and their lyrics and their sound evolved, helping them sell more than 40 million records worldwide. Having them take a look at how they influenced a ton of other bands and exploring that was also another bonus to this book. The book gets into serious breakdown of each song and even goes into a look at the album cover designs, different concepts and different meanings. The photos are great. The interviews, the commentary, the rarely seen images of Rush are both on stage and behind the scenes really add up to something I think Rush fans are going to enjoy. With this one, you get 175 pages of pure Rush goodness. New book, Rush 2112 50 Years, is out now. Okay, I'm going to wrap up the show with a crazy, wild story. You got to hang in there for this one. It's been about 2 or 3 weeks since this story broke, and I'm still shaking my head for what this means for rock and roll history. All right, this next story is about one guy standing in the crowd with a cassette recorder and how he ended up saving an entire piece of music history. This is basically the story of Adam Jacobs. He's a Chicago area music fan, sometimes known as the Tape Guy. I don't know if you've heard of him. Here's the story. For 40 years, starting back in 1984, Jacobs was recording more than 10,000 live recordings on a cassette tape. And these are not, polished soundboard releases or official live albums. These are real shows captured inside rooms and often in the middle of a crowd. He's got punk, indie, alternative, underground music scene was all taking shape, and he was right there. And he's got these all on cassette. His collection, especially tied to the Chicago music scene, ran from the 80s through the early 2000s. But it reaches so far beyond that. We're talking about recordings connected to bands like the Pixies, Sonic Youth, REM, Nirvana, along with countless other smaller bands that maybe never had proper studio releases at all. It's amazing the amount of shows that he has recorded. And for years, this massive collection was just, his archive was private. I mean, we're talking thousands and thousands of cassette tapes. You should see the picture of this guy's room just sitting there in his personal collection. And some of these concert venues don't even exist. And some of these bands don't even exist anymore. And here's the cool thing. These tapes are being digitized now and uploaded for free through the Internet Archive's Live Music Archive. I know that's kind of weird. And I was like, what is that? I went to it. It's all of what they're calling a part of this Adam Jacobs collection. You got to check this website out. There is a ton of live recordings on there from all kinds of bands. It is massive, but now you've got this Adam Jacobs collection in there. We all know cassette tapes don't last forever. And Jacobs himself said that after a documentary about him called Melomaniac came out in 2023, a volunteer from the Internet Archives reached out to him and suggested the collection should be preserved before time destroyed it. So far, around 2,500 recordings have been made available, with thousands more to come. Now, technically, a lot of these recordings would be considered bootlegs. I mean, Jacobs was often recording without any formal permission, especially in the early years. But what is interesting that, according to reports, most artists have been happy to see these performances preserved. There have been a few that have asked that their recordings been taken down, but most of them are just overjoyed to hear these great recordings. And what Jacobs captured was really so much more than music. I mean, he captured these rooms, he captured these scenes, moments, the sound of bands before they became famous, the sounds of venues that are gone, audience that have changed, and a music culture that existed before everything was documented on people's phones. This is crazy rock and roll artifacts right here. And this guy, Tape Guy, Adam Jacobs, is pure rock and roll legend. Okay, time to tear it down, pack it up, and head on down the road this week for the Rock Talk studio. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you next time for more of the artifacts, myths, stories, and moments that define and celebrate the art form we know and love as rock and roll.